The Dick Show.
All right. Well, welcome to another episode of the DC-K show. Unfortunately, we are shorthanded today. He's got Kelly's in the penalty box.
He's out there trying to secure some sponsors for the show.
Yeah, he is.
He's working hard with them Coors Light boys, trying to get us settled in, lock it in for the future.
Yeah, we miss our buddy. We can't wait till he's back. But, dude, I got to tell you, Chris and I probably just watched the coolest thing in the world.
The fucking claw, man. The claw machine.
The adult version of the claw machine.
Yeah.
Dude. So one of our neighbors just had bulk trash picked up, and they show up in their nice little garbage truck, dump truck deal, and it's got this claw thing on it, and he's just out there precision picking crap off the ground. I mean, that was impressive. You know that guy was good at those claw machines when he was a kid.
I know shit. I wonder if he goes off on his spare time and he hits up the arcade and plays the claw games.
Yeah, like he's over at Dave & Buster's or Peter Piper just ripping it.
There. He's just winning all the prizes.
Yep.
He goes to the casino and he finds... Have you been to a casino anytime lately at all?
No.
They have a claw game at the casinos where you can pick up different balls and like it'll give you a random multiplier, and then whatever ball you pick up is worth a certain value, and then so like the greater you get times the multiplier, you get that much money. You know what I mean?
Kind of makes sense.
Yeah, but yeah, that shit was cool, man. Picked up all the big heavy shit in one load, put it in there, crunched it up, smashed it down, opened that claw up, got the stuff off the ground,
like flat boards laying on the ground, just picked them up with a 8-foot wide claw.
I mean, that thing was huge, dude. That was a big ass claw.
I mean, he had to put the outrigging out on the truck just to pick up some fucking headboards and shit like that.
Swinging that thing around, too.
Hell yeah.
That claw, man, I wonder how much that thing weighs.
Oh, it's got to be heavy as hell.
Yeah, because looking at it, too, like, as it's swinging around, you know that shit. And the truck is, like, kind of, like, swaying a little, you know?
That thing was bouncing. Especially when he was trying to smash shit down in the back. That was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. Good time.
I wonder how many kids he has.
I don't know.
Maybe that's where he got all his practice. Maybe he's got like 6 kids and he was playing them claw machines all the time. And
he goes home, he has a mini one in his living room, and he uses it to pick up all the toys.
Well, I'm thinking like he has kids, he plays the damn machines all the time for the kids, and then one night he's laying in bed and he has this epiphany and he's like, it's time for a life-changing job.
Hell, I can do that.
Yeah, I gotta go work for the city.
No shit, I ain't gonna lie, I was sitting there while I was doing that thinking,
envious.
I wonder what it would take to get that job.
I know, right?
I mean? That's a sweet-ass job.
Hell yeah, it is.
I didn't know that those bulk trash pickup guys had that to go with now.
Yeah, like, that's got to be the most stress-free job in the world.
No shit, dude.
I shouldn't say that, because you probably pick up some nasty shit
Yeah,
sometimes.
and I'm sure there's some stuff, once you pick it up, it like spills out shit all over the ground where you actually have to
pick it all up by hand.
Put on some, some fucking rubbers and get out there and clean. Get the rubbers out.
Still seems like it'd be a fun job.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think that'd be a cool-ass job to have. Plus you get like the fucking city benefits and shit.
I wonder if like there's also this perk of like, you know what? I'm gonna throw this in the cab. It looks nice.
I know, right?
To that.
Yeah, you think about like
that office
some of the
chair
stuff
or something.
you grab that you're like, I bet I could keep that. I could salvage it. I wonder what he's come away with. He just puts it in that little side trunk.
If he's allowed to.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not allowed to.
Probably not, but yeah.
Dude,
still
do
pretty
you ever see those videos of those dumpster divers that go in the like I just saw one the other day. This guy pulled up on a dumpster and it was at like a like one of those strip outlets.
Okay.
And it was like the whole thing was full of fucking electronics, like headsets, controllers, video games.
Yeah.
It was just like shit that this electronics store just threw out. The guy like literally had like 12 bags full of Bluetooth headsets and all sorts of shit. And I always look at that shit. That shit blows my mind. Like, I would never do that, but it's crazy that there's people out there that's what they do.
Potentially making money off that.
Yeah, making videos of them dumpster diving. And that's how they're making money.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And we can't get fucking like, subscribe, and share to fucking make a dime off of this shit yet.
Yeah. Oh, hey, we're just having fun.
I know.
Oh, man. Any other good stories you want to tell before we jump into it?
So Chloe's on the B team for volleyball.
Yeah.
There's we tried to get her back on the A team. They were going to let us know. The opening ended up not happening, so she's on the B team. But she's happy with it. She likes it. She's got a couple of her high school teammates on there too, so that's good. I guess they scrimmaged last night against the A team, and I don't know if they beat them, but almost beat them or something. I wasn't there. I didn't get to see it, but she was saying, even Kimberly was saying that the girls on the A team are just bitches, though. Like they just were all like the B team. They're all friendly with each other, helping each other out, like have good team chemistry, and the A team, I guess, doesn't. So
interesting.
Something to be said about that. That can be a positive as well. You know? So
yeah.
And then other than that, dude, this weekend for me was college football.
Yeah. Yeah, and we missed last week, so we have probably quite a bit we can talk about pretty quick. But
yeah, there's a lot of shit that went on between 2 weeks ago and now, for sure. But,
yeah. Well, let's jump into college football since you said that. Let's just start there. So the committee has made their selections, and we now know that we are going to have Michigan, Washington, Alabama, and Texas.
Texas is the 3, Alabama's the 4.
I was going to say, not in that order, right?
Yep.
But we now know those are the 4 teams, and that both, in my opinion, Georgia and Florida State both got screwed.
So
they both got jobbed. Start with Florida State.
We've talked about this off air a bunch, and we've talked about the fact that the 12-team expansion next year would have been great for this year. Yeah. Not saying that,
I'm glad this is the last year we have to talk about it in this context.
Every year there's a little bit of controversy, you know what I mean? But I feel like this year really came down to, when you look at the last day of the season after these conference championships, man, starting with Florida State. I'm not a Florida State fan, and out of all the teams, without Jordan Travis being their starting quarterback, I understand that they're not the same team. However, they went undefeated. They won their conference championship, and they did everything that you ask a team to do. And it's sad when their quarterback, after all this goes down, all he can do is apologize and say, "I'm sorry I got hurt so late and that you guys didn't get to see how good of a team we have." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What the fuck, dude? That's bullshit. It makes everything irrelevant that you can be. So the same argument of saying Alabama won the SEC and they should be in. Well, the argument, what about Florida State? Yeah. They went undefeated
and won their conference.
So now you're in a way you're saying the conference title is irrelevant. Georgia won the national championship.
You're saying it's irrelevant, but it's 100% all that matters. Depending on what conference you're in.
And and that's the thing that I don't get, because Georgia has been in the playoffs without winning a conference championship and still being one of the 4 teams in and won the national championship.
Yep.
So like, it's, to me, in a sense, it is irrelevant whether you win it or not, because you can still get in without it. However, if you're in a Power 5, there's always been the talk of a Power 5 conference champion. If they go undefeated, there's no reason or no way.
They're almost automatically in.
There's no way they should be left
And we
out.
have 3 of those this year.
Yeah.
And Michigan and Washington both got in.
And deservingly so for both of those teams. But my biggest gripe, for Florida State anyways, is the fact that you did everything that was asked of you. Preseason, you were a top 5 team. All the way through every one of the rankings, they were a top 4 team. All the way to this point, and then they get left out. You know what I mean? Which just fucking sucks. Like, it makes a farce of this entire committee in a way that, quite frankly, it's the last year we got to deal with it. Now, talking about 12 teams, there'll be a little bit of this at some point too.
Yeah, but not as
quite
much.
Not quite as big.
I don't find people arguing over who's 12 and 13.
Yeah, when you start talking about like the number 15 team could have been 12, 14 could have been there, whatever.
But they're still a 14 or a 12.
Yeah, exactly.
What we care about is the top probably 6.
Yeah, 6 to 8, right? And really 6 to me.
Yeah, so, you got to have your, theoretically, all right. So let's talk about that, right? Because theoretically, next year you're only going to have 4 power conferences, not 5. So it's easy to guarantee a conference at least 2 spots, every major conference, at least 2 spots in this tournament, and those 2 spots should go to an undefeated or a 1-loss team who is also the conference champion, right? In this case, that would allow Georgia a pathway into this playoff, no problem. That would allow Florida a pathway into this.
Florida State,
or Florida State, yeah. Oregon, maybe not. I mean, they are now a 2-loss team, but they only lost to the same team twice, and that's an undefeated conference champion team. So maybe there's a path for Oregon to be in, But as a 8, 9, 10, possibly.
Yeah,
right.
And same thing. You look at
this
team,
problem would go away if it was next year.
And you look at a team, and we talked about it like OU, right? Or like they didn't have a chance to prove themselves again. So even though they finished 10-2, they end up out of the conference championship. But I still think they'd be a good enough team to be in that 12 spot, or
maybe. I don't. You know me. I'm always pulling for Oklahoma here, but.
No, I mean they lost games. When they did.
Top 12 of them might be a little tough because there are some other
2-loss teams
or 1-loss teams.
Yeah, or 1-loss teams that are right there.
Yeah.
But again, and all this changes next year, so that's cool at least. But fuck, dude.
So let's run the other half of this up the pole. Alabama and Texas getting in, and Georgia not.
Yep.
That's a slight to me that I don't like, because Georgia's effectively being punished for. Texas got put in because they beat Alabama. Alabama got put in because they beat Georgia in the SEC championship game. But Georgia had no chance to make any kind of argument the other direction because they didn't have to play Texas, right?
Well,
and it happened as the last game of the year, so they have no way to counter-argue their point of why they should be in. But when they're the two-time defending national champions, I just don't see how. Look, I know you want an SEC team in there, and that's why Florida State got jobbed. But how? I can't let somebody win the argument just because it's Alabama.
Yeah, and
you know what I mean.
And my big thing with that too is just like you said, you come to a situation where a team, back-to-back national champions, they'd won 25 straight games or whatever coming into this week. They had done nothing but won for 25 straight weeks.
Yeah,
They'd
for
won
3 seasons.
You know what I mean? They'd been there. They'd done that. They've been at the top of the rankings all season long. They've been at the top of the rankings in the playoff committees, right there, either 1 or 2 all season.
Yep.
So for them to lose a game
by 3 points, to lose it by 3 points, which that's another argument that can be made. The loss to Texas from Alabama was a much bigger loss for Alabama than Georgia's loss to Alabama was. At least Georgia-Bama was close. I think Texas beat Georgia by Alabama by like 11 points
10,
or
I think,
something like that.
Yeah,
so that's a bigger loss. That should matter too.
Yeah, and that was in Alabama. And then the same.
And this
thing,
was on a neutral site.
And on that flip side, like Texas, if you look at their schedule, their loss was to OU, which out of all the losses is the worst looking loss also.
Right, to a 2-loss team.
Yeah, to a 2-loss team. So for
Texas
Georgia
to be ahead
to
of Georgia.
lose to Alabama, which is a 1-loss team and the SEC champion, and they hadn't lost in essentially 2 years, for them to get completely left out also, in my opinion, is a bunch of shit.
This is, again, in my opinion, the committee saying we need one team from each conference, except the ACC doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, and what's crazy, too, is if you look at it, the 4 teams that are in now, if it's next year, it's teams from the Big Ten or the SEC, and that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because Ohio State would be one.
No, Washington. Washington's going to the Big Ten.
Well, yeah, I mean, but I mean, as far as the expansion, when you start talking about the 1-loss teams, Ohio State is one of those teams.
But I'm just saying, as far as with the 4 teams now, the 4 teams that are in now are
all going to be
are Big Ten or SEC next year.
Right,
That's it.
Correct.
So you look at that, and even it makes you wonder, there's already going to be a bias for the Big Ten and for the SEC, considering they'll be the two powerhouse of the Big Four at that point. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm almost envisioning a scenario where you're looking at like 6 to 8 teams potentially.
The Big 12 will be a pretty big league,
Hopefully,
too.
yeah. I mean, you might get 1 to 2 teams depending on how everybody does.
Right.
You know, and they're losing Texas and Oklahoma,
Right,
so now
right.
you've got to depend on. You got like K-State or Oklahoma State to carry it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Arizona State.
Yeah. I mean,
Unfortunately, that's not.
U of A, obviously, they've taken some
come
good
on
steps.
strong. Yeah.
U of A playing Oklahoma in the Alamo Bowl. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that later. You know.
Yeah. We got a couple weeks.
Just this whole year or this whole season came down to these last couple games, and the biggest thing with college football has always been like the regular season matters. You know what I mean? That's always been one of the defining things that changes it from the NFL. And now again,
yeah. I mean, especially go back just a quick, short 6-8 years. There was no playoff. It was just 2 teams selected to play in a national championship game, and obviously there was a lot of consternation over who those 2 teams were every single year. This year, I would have had a hard time picking the 2 teams myself, but I would have said it's Michigan versus Washington if we were back in the BCS days.
yeah. And also to a point, like with the BCS, if everything, say we're running things through BCS standard, it's not who passes the eye test right now. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
it's
like
all season.
So if it comes down
the
to that,
season
I think Georgia probably would have been in because their numbers in that kind of a style would have kept them.
Even with the loss, even though Michigan and Washington are both undefeated?
I think so. I think it would have kept them in the top 4.
Well, yeah,
you know?
but I'm saying just for the national championship
Yeah, no,
game,
if it came down to
get
just
2.
that, I would say it should
Michigan
be
and
Michigan and
State.
Washington.
Or Washington, yeah.
for sure. But there's so many things, man, and that's what's cool about college football, but it's also starting to become NFL light, you know, and that kind of drives me crazy a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and we've talked about that off air before. So
Transfer portal opened up yesterday.
And got flooded.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yep.
How many people transfer these days is insane.
Kyle McCord, the starting quarterback for Ohio State, you know, he transfers out. Like, I don't know where he's going yet, but he put in for the transfer portal.
OU's not going to have Gabriel.
Yeah,
for the bowl game. For this bowl game because he entered the transfer portal.
I'm not too upset with that though. With Jeff Lebby leaving, he came in with Jeff Lebby. He leaves. He did a lot of good for us. But Jackson Arnold, you know, we ended up having to burn his redshirt eligibility this year. However, the kid was a 5-star recruit. He was the number 1 quarterback in the state of Texas at the time. He was a National Player of the Year award winner. He's got all the makings. So why not let him get this bowl game and move forward?
Yeah, give him a chance.
He's got his next 2 to 3 years as the starting quarterback to show it. So I'm fine with it, you know. But it is tough, man. I mean, Notre Dame, I looked yesterday, and as it had opened, Notre Dame had already lost 9 players to the transfer portal. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. They had like 4 of their wide receivers all into the transfer portal. So going into their bowl game, who the fuck are they throwing the ball to?
Right.
You know? OU lost a couple of 3 running backs total.
I think ASU had several.
Yeah, it's just crazy, you know? It's crazy how a team can change so quickly based off of leaving, and yet another team can change so quickly based off of 1 or 2 of those players leaving and coming to their school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. It's going to make the bowl games weird.
Yeah. We'll have to, obviously not today, but we'll have to run down some of the bowl games, you know, like go through that kind of schedule, look at all of them.
Yeah.
The Rose Bowl is going to be good, though. You know?
Yeah. That's
Michigan and Alabama.
Yep.
I think so. If we're just going right now, just thinking, who do you think is going to be in the national championship game?
Michigan and
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, that other matchup's a tough one. I hate to say Michigan, Texas, probably.
I'm not, you know,
I don't want to count out
that.
Washington.
I'm not too mad at that, but I think I'm going to take Washington. I like Penix a lot. I mean, he's a great quarterback, and those wide receivers as a whole, they play really well. Washington, They earned their spot. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and
we'll see.
I'm having a very hard time with that one. I just have this. The gut tells me Texas has so much experience in this world that they know how to go in and get these playoff games won. You know what I mean? So I just.
I mean, they haven't been to a playoff in a long. I mean, they haven't been in this kind of a situation in a long time.
Yeah.
They hadn't even won the Big 12 since like 2009. You know, so. But they have shown.
It's going to be a hell of a game.
They have shown themselves in the second half of their season. They've been strong. I think it's going to come down to Michigan and Washington. That's kind of what I think.
So you agree that that Bama's getting bounced by Michigan?
I think so.
I think that'll be a handily done.
I think that'll be a closer game than advertised because I think Saban is a little bit of a better coach overall than Harbaugh. But I think Michigan this year especially, they've kind of shown it. They have a really good team. You know what I mean? There's a reason why they're undefeated through the Big Ten, and there's a reason why they are number one right now.
Right.
Especially going through all of that shit they went through this year with Harbaugh not coaching, 5-6 games or whatever it was.
And they still managed to win them.
And they still beat Ohio State with assistant coach, taking
who's done a hell of a job.
Yeah, taking the reins. And so, I mean, we'll see, man. And, of course, playoffs, all the teams got there. They all have the same shot,
Yep.
Takes 2 wins. That's it. So we'll see. But, yeah, man, it's going to be exciting. We got what? New Year's Day? Is that the day of the playoff games?
The 2 games, the
the
Rose
Bulls.
Bowl and I believe it's the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, I think
is the other game.
I think so. But yeah, we're getting close, man.
Well, just to wrap up, that topic. We're taking a look here at the season standings, and Chris and I ended the year tied, both with 225 wins on the season. But Chris wins the season based on the tie differential. He got me by 11 points.
Boom, motherfuckers.
And then if you look at the part season standings, Kelly was 2 games behind us.
Yep.
So it was a close race all year long between the 3 of us.
Yeah. And actually, I mean, again, I know we didn't, put money on anything for this, but
I did.
Well, I'm talking about as far as like the betting on the games, right? Yeah, I mean, obviously we had to pay, which it's in the mail, dude. But with that being said, I mean, look at all the numbers for all of us, like 225 and 42, 225, 44, 203 and 42 for those partial seasons.
That's the full season numbers.
Oh,
yeah.
that is? Okay.
Yeah, if we go to the part season standings, Kelly's literally only 2 games behind us.
Right.
So excluding week 1, it's 205 and 39, 205 and 40, 203 and 42.
Yeah.
And the only reason you're 39, not 40, is because you missed a pick for a Thursday game.
So which actually helped me out. Boom.
No, because you'd still be 205 and 40 with the lower tie differential.
I'm less in the L column.
Okay.
I'm just a game behind.
Well, if Kelly had won 2 more games, he would have beat you by 1 point on the tie differential.
Yeah, he had a lower differential, huh?
Yeah, he was 1 point below you.
Yeah, that's all right. It got sticky, but I pulled it out. That's what she said.
You were a little late both times.
Both times. I got the proof.
You got DNA tests done?
Yep. No.
Just took her word for it, right?
I just went in with blind faith.
Probably a smart call. Oh, man. Anyway, all right, well, yeah, we've got 2 more weeks till some of the lesser important bowl games start, so we'll have plenty of time to talk about more college football and what we see coming in these games, and as we hear more information about transfers and roster changes and stuff leading up to it. I do want to say real quick, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of people sitting out games, bowl games.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and
Caleb Williams has already said he's going to sit it out.
On 2 fronts, right? You have draft prospects that won't play.
Don't want to get injured.
And then you have this transfer portal window opening, which means players are going to enter the transfer portal.
And they're ineligible.
And they're ineligible for the bowl game. So that's another one of these things that kind of sucks, because even when it comes down to the national championship game or the playoffs, like some of that can get watered down a little bit based off of who's playing and who's not playing.
I think, though, if you're one of those 4 teams, everybody's playing.
Well, hopefully. I mean,
Yeah.
there have been situations
Sure.
where players have sat out those games, you know?
Yeah.
Again, though, I mean, that's in my opinion, that's what you play this fucking game for. You get there to that point, that's not when you sit out, right?
Right.
You know? And even then, like some of those guys, they get to a point where they know what's on the other side of that game, and that's the NFL draft. You know what I mean? So, like, maybe they pull up a little bit here or there in the game, and they're not quite, even though it's for all the marbles, like there's that little voice in the back of your head that's like, blue chip prospect,
Yeah.
you know, don't get hurt,
Yep.
don't get hurt, you know, and that's
Unfortunate.
but that's the way the fucking game is now, you know.
Yep.
You're getting kids with fucking multi-million-dollar NIL deals
Yeah.
just to play college football.
That changed everything.
Yeah. And then they're going to go make even more money, you know, going into the league.
Yep.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. Times are changing.
The times they are a-changing.